Dear Scott, I feel encouraged by one of your latest YouTubes to write to you with my recent situation. I wrote this after I wrote this after one before last Saturday's Zoom, but I doubted to send it, but it's still live. I wanted to speak, say hello, and thank you, but couldn't. Like I couldn't reach out to show up. It feels similar to this non-dynamic rather, with money and reaching out for them. Recently, I asked my satsang teacher if she can see something I cannot see in this area, and she said that unseen things are karmic here. I think the same, and it reminded me of the scene from a previous life when the love of my life was burned at the stake and I was imprisoned in the dungeon, pregnant, and I didn't have any survival will. This scene showed up during the session with my friend, and my spirit guide put the bucket of water there on the ground and the raw bloody meat and told me to eat this, to feel the animal force in my body in order to fight for survival. And I didn't have any motivation in my life to earn money. Recently, until I have literally nothing to eat, I don't feel motivated to earn money. And when this point in close, I feel so paralyzed I cannot act. So the circle is repeating. And then she's asking for help. I don't know. Here's the thing about this past life. If we can stop focusing on it as past life and focus it on something that hasn't been integrated, and that the past life memory is there to help us integrate it, whether that's actually a past life or not, in the end doesn't matter. But we can use these memories to integrate what it is that we haven't seen in this life. Remember when I told you that in bringing the anger out of repression for myself, a past life figure, Mary, would show up, and Mary was very angry at men and had no problem expressing it. And when she would show up, when I mined out, what does the image of Mary mean about me? It's exactly what it showed me, is that I'm angry. I couldn't acknowledge it, but she had acknowledged it. And so then seeing seeing what she had to show me and just witnessing the words, she disappeared eventually. So I mined a lot out of her image. Every time she showed up, I was like, what is she here to show me? Or what is the meaning of this memory? What does it mean about me? And then all the messages came like, you can't, it's unsafe to express anger. You can't express it, blah, 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 blah. And it just showed me all these things. And I just witnessed them without thinking about them. I didn't think about them. I just integrated by witnessing everything that her memory had to show me. And that was a really important part of the process of lifting the anger repression, because she kept showing up to show me that anger hasn't been integrated completely yet. She was going to keep showing up until that happened. So her memory was there for me to mine words out of. So what I would say to you is this: start with this past life memory, if you can bring it back up, and get a good look at it where you're in the dungeon and you're pregnant and you don't have a survival instinct there. But instead of going with the scene, and yes, of course, listen to your spirit guide. Your spirit guide is actually asking you to do something, regardless of whether there's a spirit guide or not. Your spirit guide is asking you to do something that your conditioning won't quite allow you to do yet. So it's saying, eat this raw meat, feel the animal force within, but your conditioning won't do it, right? And so what if you allow this past life thing to relate to it differently? Instead of following its commands, eat meat or that, what if you just find out what it's there to show you, integrate it? So there you are in the dungeon with no will to survive, and then there's your husband, not with you. What does that memory mean about you? Whatever comes up, just witness, witness, witness each thought until it falls away, and keep asking that question on that memory. Keep asking it until you see everything that it wants to show you. Just remember not to be cognitive about it. So when when the thought comes up like, I have no will to survive. You don't want to go into thinking like, yeah, I don't have a will to survive, but I would like to have a will to survive. And if I could just do this and do that. No, because that's the same mind that's creating or has created that problem, that conditioning, that same mind trying to work it out. Instead, witnessing from awareness. What does it mean about me? No analysis. Welcoming that along with every emotion or sensation that comes with it, because that's part of the integration. There might be some uncomfortable emotions as you witness some of this, because it's like putting you face to face with something about your conditioning that you feel. So just let that all come up. Do that first. Before you do anything else, sit down in a session with someone or on your own and mine out all the words from that past life memory, literally until the memory can't even stay there anymore. If the memory keeps coming up, it's there to show you more. So you just mine out more words. You keep doing that until the strength of that memory, it loses its strength and it just stops appearing. So if it keeps appearing, keep mining out words. And then once you do, sit back and just see how and if that changes how you're living your life. Like, see if steps start being taken from there, even if they're small steps towards surviving and making money or whatever you need to do. And if not, just come back to me, write to me again, and we'll go to a next phase of this. There may be deeper conditioning that has to be looked at. But I feel like the past life thing is right there for you to start integrating. And that hasn't happened yet. That needs to happen first before we go into any other stage because that's going to keep appearing until it's integrated. So go ahead and integrate it by mining things out and then come back to me.